afternoon Periscope. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes and give people time to get in. Hey Tech 701, how you doing? This is the first Saturday scope of the year. If this is your first time scoping with me, I want to say thank you for joining. Thanks for scoping with me. If you don't know me, my name is Shakana. I am a minister, a social worker, evangelist, prophetic intercessor, whole lot of things. A creative type. I like to make things, do things, all kinds of stuff. Hey, Pastor Wallace. So this is our first scope of the year, and I just wanted to pop on briefly and talk to you about the year 5777, and what it entails, and getting to that place for yourself. So my pastor is in a series right now about vision and the year of supernatural expansion. So he took some time to talk about the year 5777, which is 2017 in the Gregorian calendar. So 5777 in the Hebrew calendar is what he's talking about. So he broke that thing down, in the year 5700 is may it be the year of. And then he talked about the 77. So I just want to take a minute for that year of. Right now, it's a lot going on in the body of Christ, and with Christianity in general. It's a lot of uproar. It's a lot of controversy over the comments and the sermon that Kim Burrell preached. It's a lot going on, just a lot in general, not just in Christianity and the body, but in our nation. We're getting ready to inaugurate a new president, which I'm sure has some people worried and concerned, but God is still on the throne. He is still worthy. Hey, he is still worthy. He's still in control, no matter what's happening in the natural. Please know that what's going on in the spirit realm is so much bigger and greater than what we see in the natural. God is setting some things up and getting some things aligned. And if you are a blood-bought believer, you don't have to be worried. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be fearful. This is going to be an amazing year to see the manifestation of the promises of God, of His Word, of things that we've been praying for, seeking for, believing for. I'm excited. So, anywho, back to may it be the year of. I took some time. I wasn't going to make a vision board, but I took some time to do that after the pastor broke down that message about may it be the year of, because I wanted to declare some things for myself, not just for myself, but in general, for those attached to me, to those that I meet and I encounter. Hello, thanks for scoping with us. And I'll flip my camera back around so you can see my vision board here in just a second, and some of the things that I put on it. There are some things that I've been believing for and declaring for a while now. If you know me personally, I always sing Beverly Crawford, Mine's on the Way. So that's one of my favorite clips of her praising and declaring that what God has for her is on the way. So I just want to say to you, what God has for you is for you. Just because it hasn't manifested, just because it hasn't manifested yet, doesn't mean it's not going to. I'm not fooling with you today, Wallace. But anyway, yes, he's on the board. Hallelujah. He's coming. He's coming. God spoke very specifically about that time frame and everything. Won't he do it? But anyway, I just This is why I can't fool with Pastor Wallace. Because anytime we get together, we get to laughing and kicking and giggling. He knows I get tickled and I be losing my train of thought. But anyway, back to 5777. So, after he talked about 5700 in the decade, may it be, yes, we do. Won't he will? Come on. 5700 being may it be the year of, he talked about the number 7. And we know that 7 is the number of completion. And so I'm expecting God to complete some things that he began, to complete the work. And not only that, there's some things that I have to complete this year. God spoke very specifically in 2016 and told me there's a specific area of ministry that I have to finish before he will release before he will release the next phase for me. So I'm working on finishing that. I got to get that done. But he also talked about 7 being the number of rest and how God created for 6 days. Wallace, hush. Talked about 7 being the number of rest and resting in the things that God has declared and spoken, and even spoke about going back and looking again, and how some of the things that God had declared in 2016 didn't seem to line up, just didn't seem like right, didn't seem like what he said was coming together, was coming to pass. He said, go back and look again. That thing right there cut me. That cut me. Hallelujah. I receive it, Wallace. I receive it. I'm going to talk to you later about what God told me my next assignment is. So yeah. I'm not going there with you today. I'm trying to focus, okay? But so I'm gonna flip this back around so you can see some of the things that are on my vision board. So I purposely put in the middle the year, and may it be the year of. So this side has just a lot of words, just and this part, if you see at the bottom, this right here, hear it, see it. I need to hear it and then see it real quick. And then this side has some other stuff. You see my house? Hallelujah. I'm believing for a house this year. I know it's coming and I know when. So I'm praising God in advance for that thing. But yes, amen, bestsellers. I'm claiming that too. I'm working on one right now. So this is my visual representation of some of the things that that I'm believing for this year. Some of the things that God has declared, not just last year, but in years before, that I know God spoke over my life. I'm taking responsibility for the God said over my life. And I think that's something that we as believers have to do. You know, it's really easy to get distracted, to get discouraged by a lot of other voices that like to speak up concerning the God said over your life. But if you don't have that thing locked in and secured for yourself, and know that this is what God has spoken over you, concerning you, about you, you can get way off track by listening to other people and seeking ungodly counsel from people who may or may not have your best interest at heart. They may very well have your best interest at heart, but just aren't tuned to God's voice or tuned to God's heart for you. So I don't say that to say that people are just telling you the wrong thing or whatever, but you got to know without a shadow of a doubt what God said concerning you, and what the God said over your life is. I know what he said about my life. Sometimes I don't like what he says, but I know. I've had many a conversation with Pastor Wallace about the things that God has said concerning my life, and and just being honest about how I felt about it. Sometimes I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know. I don't know about this. But that's a thing that comes with maturity and wisdom. Even if you don't like it, even if you don't, honey, what? Me too. Even if you don't like what he said in the moment, ride that thing out. Be obedient. Do what he said, do. Yes, he does know what's best. And that's why I trust him and I follow him and I do what he says, even when I don't understand it. When honey, listen, I have gotten some of the craziest instructions from God, some of the, like, the wildest stuff. I could, you talk about a play or a movie. What? Some of the craziest stuff that God has told me to do or instructed me to do and walk out, like, it makes absolutely no logical sense at all. But I promise you, at the end of the day, when I was obedient to his word and I walked that thing out, there was such a great blessing in it. There was promotion and elevation and doors open. So I already know that this next season, because I've been on the backside of the mountain and in the desert and being obedient and taking the time to listen to his word for his instruction, I know that what's coming in the next season is great. I know it's great, and I know I'm not by myself, because just in talking to folks and hearing stories and seeing where people are, it's a lot of people that have been in the process who have been in their winter season. And let me declare this to you now. It is almost spring. You hear me? The buds are blossoming. The snow is melting. Come on. It is almost spring. Hang in there. It's not going to be long. Like, I'm telling you, birds are starting to chirp. The little animals is waking up from their hibernation. It might have looked dead for a long time. It looked like wasn't nothing going on. No activity, no growth. But underneath the snow, underneath the dirt and the dust, God has been working. You hear me? God has been growing some people up. God has been maturing some people in the spirit, has been setting some things in order, has been preparing a way, and is about to bust open. Not even bust them open, bust down. He's just going to straight knock them off the hinges, some doors for his people who have been preparing. You know, the key is preparation. You can't go to where God is taking you without the necessary preparation. And it's so important that you endure that process so that when you get where he's taking you, you'll be prepared for everything that comes with that place. Endure the crushing and endure the molding. When you on that potter's wheel and you get slapped back down to nothing but a lump of clay, take it, endure it with a good attitude. Because I'm telling you, it's necessary. It is so necessary. It might hurt. It's uncomfortable. It'll have you in your feelings and feeling some type of way. I'm trying to tell you, 2016, I was in my feelings more than ever. Every other day, I felt some type of way. I ain't like it. I ain't want to be there. I was over it. Every bit of it, over it. I was like, all right, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't like it. I don't appreciate this, but I'm going to endure it anyway. I'm going to endure it. And I know that it was for my good, that that is working itself out. You know, I was talking to one of my friends. I was talking to Mother Shakole, and I was explaining to her the position that I was in. I told her, I said, I feel like the earth in Genesis, where it was chaos, but God was still moving on the face of the deep. That I feel like I lost myself, but I found myself at the same time, as God has put me in this peculiar season to really completely make me over, to really make me his own, and to mold me into the woman of God that he would have me to be. So that's why I say spring is almost here. Yes, come on. Spring is almost here. And it took, for me, it took me moving away and being here by myself. I packed up and moved to Florida. For those of you who don't know, I was getting ready to buy a house. Had called the realtor, gotten the number for the bank people to get pre-approved, everything. That was on a Thursday morning. That night, talked to Racina. Me and Racina hadn't had a conversation, like a real live sit down, heart to heart, in probably over 2 years. When I tell you that woman of God wrecked my life, I felt like my soul just jumped out of my body and stretched out in the floor. She spoke confirmation to everything I had been praying about, had been seeking God about. Nobody even knew that I was praying about. You already know how it is. When she wreck your life, she wrecks it, honey. You hear me? You'll just be like, okay, I'm ready. Pee and go to bed. I'm done. Ain't even nothing else. Just pee and go to bed. So I got off the phone with her this same Thursday that I had called the realtor about buying my house. Called my mama and was like, well, I'm moving to Florida. My mama was like, what you mean you moving to Florida? You was just talking about buying a house this morning. I said, yeah, I know, but some things I've been praying about, some things I've been seeking God about, and he said it's time to go, so I'm out. I made my preparations, came to visit a couple times, sought him for specifically where in Florida I was supposed to go, packed my stuff up. That was in probably, let's see, I don't remember what month it was when I had that conversation with Racina, but I know my first visit was in July. So it was probably like May or June when I had that conversation with her. My first visit was in July. I came back in December because God had spoken the city. By February, I was here. So I moved here in February. So I'm coming up on a year. I came here with no job, didn't know anybody, didn't have a job prospect, nothing. I just came. God said go, so I went. And the entire time that I've been here, God has truly provided, has instructed, has connected me with some amazing people and opportunities, with writers, with authors, with pastors, ministers, attorneys, judges. Like, in my first, I say probably 6 months of being here, I went to more places, to dinners, banquets, celebrations, like all kind of stuff that I never would have had the opportunity to go to had I been at home. I met people who just immediately took me in, accepted me, celebrated my gifts, celebrated my callings, got behind the vision of what I was doing with writing my first book, supported me, encouraged me, and God even opened up doors in that area to have my book turned into an audio book for free, to have people to help promote it for free, to make commercials, all kinds of stuff for free. People who had just met me like a month or so ago. So I said all that to say this: when God gives you those crazy instructions, be obedient. Just do it. Go, even if it's scary, even if it don't make sense, do it. If you know that you're hearing from God, you don't owe anybody any explanations. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time explaining stuff, because everybody's not going to understand it anyway. It's not for everybody. Sometimes we got to learn how to be like Mary and take that thing and ponder it in our heart and keep it. Get you a journal, get you a note app on your phone, whatever you need to do, and write it down. The Bible said, write the vision and make it plain. Make it plain and know that it's for an appointed time. God has shown me so many things, glimpses into my future and things that I'll do and accomplish and have. But I know that it's not all for now, that it's for an appointed time. And sometimes it's hard getting to that appointed time because we want to rush the process. Let me tell you, he done chopped me so many times in the past few weeks about trying to rush the process and me being in my own way. He just flat out told me, look, you in the way of your own blessing. I'm not done, but you keep trying to rush the process. Be still. Be still. And when God gives you that correction, when God tells you sit down somewhere, sit down. Be still. I don't want to go through these processes again. I'm ready to move on to the next thing, ready to move on to new and bigger and better. So sometimes we got to learn how to get out of our own way and remove this picture of what we think it should be like. Because I promise you, what we think things should be like is not how God has it pictured. It's just not. It's not. He don't work the way we do. He don't think the way we do. He doesn't process things the way we do. So whatever picture you have in your mind of how it's supposed to be or how it should be, just throw it away. Crumple it up, put it in a recycle bin, shred it, whatever you need to do, but just throw it away. Because I'm telling you, you're going to save yourself a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of drama, because once you get that picture out of your mind, it creates that blank canvas for God to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could think, ask, imagine. But if we've got this picture in our mind of how it should be, we put God in a box and say, okay, if you're not going to do it this way, then it's not God. If it doesn't look like this, then it's not God. If it doesn't come this way, then it's not God. That ain't him. That ain't it. And I'm guilty of that big time. Because sometimes it's just how we are. It's just how we do. You know, we see something and we like, oh, that can't be God because it don't look like this, or it ain't moving like that. It ain't, and it's God the whole time, and we missing it, delaying the process, delaying the manifestation because we looking for it to come one way and it comes another way. So I pray that this year you see it, you hear it and see it. You hear it and see it. You see it and see it. And when I say see in the spirit and then see naturally the manifestation of it. You hear it in the spirit and see manifestation. I'm claiming all my stuff. Right. His plans are so much better. And and sometimes we got to just quit being frustrated because it doesn't come together the way we thought it would or look like what we thought it would or should. Get the coulda, shoulda, wouldas out the way. Get rid of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and we'll be a whole lot better off. You know, take some time. I always spend the beginning of the year in some type of consecration and prayer, and really just make time to be still and be quiet and command my morning. Not the physical morning, but the beginnings of things. Take that time to really speak to every area of your life this year, your finances, your health, your career, your relationships, everything, your family. If you want to travel, whatever it is that you're believing and expecting God for, take some time to seek God for it, to pray about it, to declare some things in that area. Like on my vision board, I got stuff about everything, about relationships, about jobs, about education, about life lessons, even down to vacations, everything. I'm believing for some big stuff. And I'm believing that God is going to create opportunities for me to shift out of what I'm doing now into full-time ministry. It may not come in 2017, but I know He's leading me that way. So I'm believing God that my gifts will make room for me as well as provide and take care of me in the coming years. So I'm writing, I'm pulling out some stuff I've been sitting on that God has been checking me about sitting on. So, it's time to do it. It's time to do it. Give. You can't be blessed with your hands closed up like this. And that's not just financially. Give of yourselves this year. Go the extra mile to pour into other people, to bless other people with what God has freely given you. Whatever that measure and that portion is, share it, give it, pay it forward. If you have the ability and the means to help, because you never know how God is going to return that blessing back to you. And you never know when you might be the person standing in need of help. So, folks, I'm about to get off of here because I am, I got to go to the grocery store and I got to finish writing my prayer cards for the week. But I pray that you all have an amazing week, that you enjoy the rest of your weekend, that you are blessed, that you will come back and scope with me. I'm going to try to be on Periscope more this year and not just Saturday scopes. But I'll definitely be here for Saturday scopes. Sometimes work doesn't allow me to be here in the middle of the week because I'm dealing with families in really sensitive areas. Speaking of which, y'all, please pray for families this year. There is such a huge attack on families and young people. I have seen some crazy stuff at work. In the last week alone, I got a family where there were 3 small children, a baby that's 1 year old, 2 years old, and 4. They were found on the side of the road. Both their parents were in the car dead. The grandparents got a call, like a knock on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning from the sheriff. Nobody wants to get that news. That's not how anybody wants to start their new year. But these are the type of things that I deal with every day at work. So please, when you pray for families. Pray that God would cover and protect the families and people that work in situations like this. We have babies that come in that are drug addicted, and parents are addicts and homeless. And I have a family of 6, a lady with 6 children who are homeless. And we haven't been able to get them in a shelter. We haven't been able to find them housing. They're living way below the poverty line. We just got another family that has 7 kids that's homeless. So if y'all don't see me, this is why. But please pray for these families. And if you can, get involved in your community to be a help, to be a blessing, to reach out, not even just to strangers, but to people that you know, because you never know what somebody's going through. Never know. A lot of times people don't tell because they're not asked. And when people do ask, it's just that surface, oh, hey, how you doing? But people don't really take the time to listen. This mental health struggle is real. I have a 15-year-old on my caseload who is bipolar, who is unmedicated, who has a 2-month-old baby, who has not been seen by the doctor since before her baby was born. She's completely out of control, unwilling and unable to care for her baby, but even for herself is in a position where she's in danger, where she's not making good life choices. So pray for these young people. Pray that God would cover them, give them a heart and a mind to want to live right, to come to Him, reach out to Him, be a mentor, take one under your wing, whatever you can do. We got a lot of grandparents who are raising young people who should be retired and enjoying their lives, who are now in positions to take care of these young people who are out of control. So pray real hard. Honey, pray for me. Because I'm telling you, some days when I come home from work, I get in my bed and go to sleep because I'm that exhausted spiritually and emotionally. So for all the folks who work in social services, with DCF, with any job or ministry where you're reaching out to people, I pray that God would continue to fill and refill you with virtue and strength to do your job, to do the work of ministry and all that you have to do to serve His people. So have a great week. Come back and scope with me next time. Pastor Wallace, I'm gonna holler at you in a minute. I love y'all. Bye.